Hello, internet friends and subscribers. We have some red flags in the Mandela Effect. So the first red flag I would like to go over is I may have accidentally contaminated this timeline. Not with time traveling, but in a way. So Comic Con is coming up in San Francisco. So I've been trying to get some costumes together. So this is from the Divergent series. So there's pads on the elbows, right? It's black camouflage. So if you look on the inside, right, they got black camouflage material. It's not like somebody got a black t-shirt and put bleach streaks on it. And there's shoulder pads, right? So this is from the movie The Divergent. Divergent is a dystopia in the future, and everything's wiped out, and there's a city, and they've divided these factions artificially based upon their natural abilities. The faction Dauntless is more or less like the police forces. So when I got this, I wore it to Starbucks. I wore it out to get my mail and everything. People in downtown San Francisco freaked the fuck out. The security in the stores came when I was shopping at Target. People stood with their mouths open, and there was an incident where I was accused of stealing equipment from police officers or federal agents, and I have the proof of purchase, and I put that on my Twitter and Facebook, and now I'm hearing that whatever individual was making the accusation that this was stolen police equipment, they're going to have these for the police. And this is from a dystopia at some time in the future, 2043 if you will, or something like that, 2077. So we weren't going to have that in our police force or federal agents, this clothing. And so this timeline now is going in that direction. This is like made in Studio City in Hollywood, wherever Divergent was filmed. There's a trilogy So that's like red flags flying. That's how easy it would be if there was a time traveler that came in and somebody wants it badly, that technology, right? So now I'm like, well, if the prime directive, you know, should we use the prime directive for Hollywood costumes? Should I wear that to Comic-Con now? Should I go back to... I have some Stargate uniforms that look, you know, 20th century. Stargate came out in the 20th century, right? So I don't know what... that's very disturbing. I had other videos planned, and this came up and it was thrown in my face. They didn't think, oh, there's a time traveler from 2043. They were thinking I stole Homeland Security uniforms, right? I think we're going into a very dark direction. With this, right? So, so we have these 50-cent pieces. John F. Kennedy. I got the bicentennial 50-cent pieces, right? I was kind of disturbed by this. A 2016 50-cent piece with our president that was elected in November of 2016. We're at a whole nother level. Okay, so there's gold bullion from 2016 with Donald Trump's face on it. So you have to step back a bit, and it's so Democrats and Republicans, okay, people are upset about this. Okay, so as long as there's a national debt in the United States, Democrats and Republicans are wearing the yoke of our national debt from the Federal Reserve Bank. Before you change the world and become the world leader in all of this business, somebody better pay back the Federal Reserve Bank. Right? So, what is the... So, there are... So, when you start seeing... so, gold bullion, right? Morgan. The Morgans. We borrowed gold for one of those assorted wars that we had. The Federal Reserve, you know, silver, promissory notes, Rockefeller and Rothschild. We have a 50-cent piece with the First Lady printed. So, you know, the Morgans, Rockefellers, and Rothschilds are backing the President of the United States. But so all of this tizzy fit over the 2016 election, you better cool your engines and worry about the national debt and the gold that we borrowed. We better Every ounce of gold we borrowed from the Morgans, we would give them back their gold. And, then we could have this, then we can go play, on Mars. That kind of thing. What else? I had some Mandela Effect. So there's two camps of Mandela Effect. One is time travel. One is parallel universe. So before I get into the Mandela Effect that I had planned, I just want to go into like the esoteric type knowledge. Of the Illuminati, how they helped establish the democracy that we live in, why the presidents were Masons, because it took the secret societies and the Masons to establish the democracy. The knowledge of democracy comes from a long time ago. From the Titans and the Olympians. Athens was the first democracy from the goddess Athena. Hermes brought the knowledge directly from the Titans. How to set it up, how to run it, what it is, that knowledge. Hermes' knowledge came to us and is in the Golden Dawn Society. Members of the Golden Dawn, J.R. Tolkien, who wrote the Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings. We have C.S. Lewis, the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We have L. Ron Hubbard, who's in the Golden Dawn, with Scientology, the Church of Scientology. Aleister Crowley was in the Golden Dawn. He went off and started his own sort of religious society. I think it was called the OTO. Marina Abramovich went from, what Aleister Crowley started, and started her own kind of religious thing. The point is that these knowledges from the ancient times of what established our democracy. That statue in New York Harbor is the goddess Athena, Lady Liberty. Some of these are considered Illuminati. I think that term has just been said to, now people are using the term Illuminati. If we didn't have the Masons, we would still be under the church, the King of England and the church. The Queen of England owns a sixth of the world's landmass. Australia, Scotland, Ireland, England, Canada. No one escaped the British English aristocracy. One of the kings, at least one king, was under house arrest before he died mysteriously. So we have the Magna Carta signed, and then, the Declaration of Independence. the Constitution is sort of establishing this democracy. If you read the Keys of Solomon, King Solomon went out and hired literally demons to help him fight some wars. Okay, so these demons were in democracies. There's a president of these demons, various legions of demons. They all have presidents. So this knowledge is how we're running the democracy, right? The only other choice you have is to have the church run your country, or the English crown. So we have this democracy we're in right now. Okay, let's get into something that's mind-boggling to me. So, how would you write the Roman numeral 24? 2 X's, an I, and a V. What about 14? An X, an I, and a V. And 4 is I and V. So when I looked up the Roman numerals, that's what they came out as. And the reason I was looking this up is because someone and myself the other day was looking at a major landmark, the San Francisco Chronicle clock tower. And we looked at the clock tower, and the clock tower has 4 eyes. I for the Roman numeral 4. And we found a picture of that. And we were looking around and we thought, well, what do other clocks have for the Roman numeral 4? And some clocks have IV and some clocks have I. Then we found a picture of the clock with IV instead of I. And then we read that the clock face has been the same. It's never changed. So I'm going to have to do a follow-up on this, do some more research. Clock faces don't change with different Roman numerals. So I might have like a real indicator of a Mandela Effect. And it reminds me of the clock in Back to the Future. It's almost like they were divulging information, or they were putting something out there and they didn't know exactly what the story is or anything. But we have a clock with Roman numerals on it one way, and then it's shifted to another way. So, what got me into the Mandela Effect was this. It's my old BlackBerry. I have a different phone now. I was walking a young woman, to her car, and we hadn't reached her car yet, and we were talking, and she looked over. Her car was already started, and we hadn't reached the car. It had started. It was like in a blink of an eye. In one blink, we were walking to her car, and another blink, her car was started. So she opens up the door, gets in her car, and the car is started. So she puts her key in. It's a mechanical key. And she didn't really think anything of it until a couple of days later. And I kind of remember that, and I didn't pay attention. And then as I was walking by, I was looking at my phone. I didn't pay attention either. Until a couple of days later, I realized, well, how did that message come in from 2043? Okay, so that's a Mandela Effect type of a situation where you really don't know what's going on.